That's right. Blame me for everything. Thank you, Martin. I love you too. Well, I'll take the credit or the blame. Dave, how you doing? All right. It's a silent one. Yes. Yes. Hmm. Dave, you don't want it to come across too good or we're going to get banned for copyright violations.
Len, whereabouts in the UK are you? You sound like you're London-based.
South East London.
Yeah.
As you can probably hear the accent.
Most
You can tell by your drapes.
Curtains, you know.
So you finally decided to take the plunge and join this motley crew.
Yeah. I just been trying to set up for quite a while now. So I used to be in sound, used to do sound engineering, worked on some films, on some sounds. So and I was using X32 here, X32 producer mixer.
Sweet.
Okay.
Motorized, baby, motorized.
Motorized faders, yeah. Mm. And I just wondered, like the room ambience was like.
I'm sorry, Lynn. We got to cut you loose because you're way too skilled. You're and too close to a genius to be part of this group.
Oh, no chance. No.
I'm getting a funny feeling that Tom Sinclair is getting really worried the closer he gets to showtime with this group on here.
Completely embarrassed. Sinclair all.
I've had to put some gate on this because I'm sitting right next to the computers underneath the desk here, and if I turn the gate off, you get a lot of. So put the gate on and it cuts it out completely. So
Yeah, I think
You're gonna have to teach us some stuff about audio, man.
Well,
Len, they need help, Len.
We've got the BBC, ex-BBC engineer for that, haven't we? So I don't think I'm going to want to sit on here and start telling people how to work, do sound. We've got a BBC or ex-BBC engineer, haven't we? Dave, is it?
Martin.
Sorry, Martin.
Yeah, Martin K.
Yeah, Martin K.
Yeah. So if I start,
but we have to pay him to show up. So you know.
Oh no, you haven't got to worry with that with me. So I'm free.
Okay, guys.
Hey, guys.
I'm going to start the show. So I'm going to push the big red button now.
Ready.
So what is that I've been watching on Facebook all along?
This show is brought to you by our sponsors, EasternShoreBroadcasting.com, who are all about live streaming.
Goedenavond, bonsoir, goedenavond, buona tarde, go aften, and for the rest of you all, good evening. This should be a normal show, but because we have some great guests today, it's going to be a show which is going to have a big impact. So everyone here in the Zoom room, hi guys, how are you doing, everyone? So before we go to the big subject of today, it's the coming Streamfest on Saturday. Let's talk first with Jim Jacobs, who is going to do a few things on Streamfest Live. Jim, can you explain a little bit what you're going to say during Streamfest? You're muted, Jim, on Zoom.
I just unmuted you.
Okay.
Okay,
Try it again,
well,
Jim.
let's try this again.
There you go.
I never know what I'm going to say, so that's what makes me an interesting guest. There's a couple of things we're going to do Saturday. I think at 1 o'clock Eastern, we're going to do a presentation that we did over at StreamCon back in June in Atlanta about the business of video streaming. So people can kind of get some ideas about what it's like to actually run a business that's based on the product of streaming, regardless of what you do. In our case, we do a ton of sports stuff, and that's primarily how we monetize our business. But I mean, it could be anything that you do, from teleconferencing to how-to shows to, I mean, you know, streaming is a wide open platform, and it gives you basically a whiteboard, as I like to call it, to doing whatever it is you feel like your specialty is that you can bring to people. But there's still some basic things when it comes to running a streaming business that you need to keep in mind, regardless of what your end product is. And one of the things that I like to open with anytime I start talking to a group of people about running a business of any kind is I have a saying that I think is very tried and true, and it's that nothing happens until somebody sells something. And I think that's very important for people to know when it comes to running a business based around video streaming, because there are a lot of guys out there that like to stream, but they don't necessarily understand the sales monetizing side of it. And we're going to try to give you a little bit along those lines as well. I think that's at 1 o'clock. And then at 2:30, we're going to basically be able to take everybody on a tour of our production trailer that we use to do high school sports here in our part of the world in Northeast Alabama or Northeast Central Alabama. And we'll actually take you inside the FNN production trailer. We were able to get it over to StreamCon. A lot of guys had a chance to see it, and a lot of folks are impressed with what they saw. So hopefully we can actually get a live camera out there. And we didn't get a good video of the tour during StreamCon. Dave Edwards did a really nice job trying to capture some stuff, and there was actually a clip of it in the vMix Fun Time show last month that Tim got when he was inside with us. So we're going to try to give everybody a good full look inside that on Saturday as well. So that's pretty much our plan for what we've got on deck for Stream Fest on Saturday at 1 and 2:30 Eastern time, and hope everybody can join us.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to those two parts, and especially the production trailer I think is going to be a huge success. Jim, something else. The last few weeks or even months, you worked on a really nice project concerning scores. Could you tell a little bit more about that?
You talking about our graphic stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I've had some people that have actually seen the work that we do on YouTube and on the internet with our sports, and I've actually had some people ask me, could they get some of the graphics that we do? And to be honest with you, I had never really thought about doing that. Byron Lindsay, a good friend of mine, basically convinced me that I should. So we took the time and put together a little video, and basically have made a American football graphics package available. The basic package is $185, and Merle and I were talking about it during the pre-show before we actually went live on the stream, I think, and somebody like Merle might be better to speak about it than me, because he's the guy on the other side of it that, saw a need for it and really liked it and thought, well, maybe this is something that I should buy for what I'm trying to do. So we've got it out there. If anybody's interested in it, they can email me or get in touch with me through fnnnetwork.com. And just drop me a note, and our phone numbers and all that stuff are in there as well under the contact information, and we can give you the details. You can also find the video I know it's on the Streaming Idiots forum in Facebook, and on the Jacobs Media Services page on Facebook as well, if you want to go take a look at it.
Okay, it looks terrific. We're certainly going to put a link also in our show notes. Jim, if I take myself as an example, I'm into the badminton world. Mm-hmm. If let's say there is a need for badminton bugs, score bugs, and other bugs, can people ask that you create a special package?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I had a guy email me, or maybe messaged me on Facebook the other day, that does ice hockey. And I don't have anything along the lines of ice hockey that's already in our repertoire of things we do. We don't do a lot of ice hockey here in Alabama. But I told him to send me a scoreboard, an actual photo of a scoreboard from a stadium maybe that he works in, so I can get an idea of what he wants in a score bug, and we could certainly create him something from scratch. And we do all our graphics. I didn't mention this. When we send people graphics that buy our package from us, we include the XAML files, so you can do all the editing and changing right within vMix by right-clicking on each input, and that includes the score bug. So you can do everything by creating a few shortcuts on your X Keys device or your keyboard or another MIDI controller of choice, and run your scoreboards, create your graphics right within vMix. You don't have to know how to do Photoshop or Corel or any of those kind of things, because we've basically already done that work for you.
Yeah, that's certainly great, because I know a lot of people who want to create scorebooks but don't know anything about XAML because there is not a decent editor for people that don't work with it every day. Thanks very much for this, Jim. It's certainly going to be an added value.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And we've got some other things in the works. Dave and Giles are going to work on something for me. Anybody that does American football or sports in general, we're working on a process right now. Most people have heard of the ScoreStream app that's available. Well, ScoreStream has a UI that will basically provide a broadcaster feed to people that are doing live sports, and we're trying to get a interface written for that or prepped for that, where you can bring it in through a JSON feed through data sources in vMix and be able to run a live score crawl during your games on Friday night or whenever you're doing what you're trying to do. So that's another thing that's probably coming down the pipe really soon that will be out there that people that use vMix can just readily get their hands on.
Just get some time.
So if you're not convinced to watch Jim Jacobs on Saturday at the Streamfest live show, you're now, without any doubt. So any questions for Jim at this moment, or are we having them for the after show?
Rudy, Jim, and I were talking before the show, as he mentioned, and I just wanted the world to know how happy I was to see that he had put together that graphics package. It's something that I was wondering how I was going to do. I'm not going to do football full-time this year, but I want to get out there and do some things and gain some experience. And it was just a godsend for me to see those packages up there. And it's good to know that he will create something for instance, your badminton thing too. So a lot of good things coming from Jim Jacobs, and we appreciate it.
Thanks, Merle.
Thanks, Merle. Okay. Normally we all at this moment at another show, but yeah, Tom has a late show tonight, and I got a call from someone. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's from Alabama, and he said, let's hack Tom's show. We have to take his time now. So that's the reason we've put up this show. So we're going now to Tom Sinclair. He's going to explain what he's going to do on Streamfest Live, and also what his late evening show is going to be. So it's all yours, Tom.
Thank you, Rudy. I am delighted to sit in with you guys today. Normally, I am tied up with another show, just one of those shows. Anyway, it's a real treat for me to hang out with a bunch of guys like you and to talk about live streaming, my favorite subject in the entire world. I'm so excited about Streamfest coming up this weekend. And not one, but two different time slots in Streamfest. We've got a 12 noon Eastern time slot where it's entitled to be streaming idiots with the Alabama group. We'll have to see if the Alabama group are out of bed by noon on Saturday, because that's 11 o'clock in the morning here after a big Friday night. I'm guessing Tommy and some of those guys, they may not show up until mid-afternoon. But nevertheless, we'll have a lot of fun talking about streaming, talk a little bit about Streaming Idiots and the way Streaming Idiots started, kind of the history on that. and then pushing back into the late in the afternoon. I think it's let's see, is it 3 o'clock Eastern? Yeah, we've got an infomercial, which, you know, truth be told, everything I do is an infomercial. If you get an email from me, it's an infomercial. I mean, it's all about live streaming. I mean, that is what I do full-time business is to teach people live streaming, to sell them goods and services that they need to live streaming, and to troubleshoot with folks that are doing live streaming. And you know, back in the bad old days, you know, 100 years ago, no, 8 years ago, when live streaming was just really beginning to get some notoriety, there wasn't a place to go to get these answers. You know, it was like the beginning here in the U.S. of hot rodding. There were no aftermarket hot rod parts back in the 50s when guys were hot rodding their automobiles. And that's the way it was, you know, 8, 9 years ago in live streaming. We were creating everything. We were breaking stuff right and left, trying to figure out what worked with what. And so today, by contrast, in some ways today is much easier because there are all these products that have been developed that you can take advantage of. And in other ways, today is much more difficult because it's so much more complex. The streaming software of 8 years ago had two different buttons on it. And now we've got page after page of settings to get things drilled in just right. So during this infomercial, we'll talk about some of those goods and services that Eastern Shore Broadcasting is happy to bring to the world. What else? That's it.
Okay. Your late evening show this evening is with one of the winners of the what was it called again? The
Streaming Awards.
The Streaming Awards. That's correct. Could you tell a little bit more about that, Tom?
Thank you, Rudy. I appreciate that. Tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern is a special edition of Streaming Idiots at streamingidiots.com, where you can watch and chat and help me greet the 2017 Streaming Awards winner. That is the person that won the whole shooting match, Zach Adams, who I nominated in the category of production for his production of Cruise Week TV. And Cruise Week TV has turned into a hugely successful online live stream Saturday evenings where they talk about cruising. And I'm not talking about Tommy, I'm not talking about cruising for chicks, I'm talking about cruising, i.e. getting on a cruise ship and going out into the Atlantic or the Pacific or the Caribbean or wherever and cruising. And Zach has done a wonderful job of creating the show and putting it out there, where he's got sometimes, you know, tens of thousands of live viewers and then tens of thousands of viewers after the fact. It's hugely popular. He's hit the market at the right time with the right thing and done a great job. He's doing a lot of cutting edge kinds of things. I'm hoping that we'll have a studio tour tonight, a live tour. If not, I know we've got a lot of photographs of his studio and some of the crazy things that he's done to put all this together. So this is definitely a show that you want to see live if you want to ask questions. But definitely on demand after the fact to see some of the production techniques and workflow that he has. In some ways, I think he's pioneered them. Things that most people are not doing. So thank you, Rudy. Tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern. Streaming Idiots, Zach Adams, the overall winner, and also the winner in the category of Best Production for the 2017 Streaming Awards.
Okay, thanks, Tom. One question for you. Did Tommy send the PC already back to you?
PC?
Yeah, the computer you lent him. Is it already back? Because there is some.
What in the world was I thinking? Oh my goodness! Gee whiz! sending something like that to Tommy? Oh, golly. Yes.
I just want you to know, Tom Sinclair, that I had to stop cruising for chicks because I forgot what I was there for. At my age, I was cruising for chicks, and then I'd forget what I was looking for. So I just stopped it altogether. I was getting embarrassed.
Okay. The main reason we are producing this interrupt show today is of course next Saturday Streamfest Live, which has been set up by Giles, who has put incredible amount of work into it, together with the rest of the Wolves guys. Giles, how is it? Is everything ready for Saturday? Can you enlighten a little bit about the program and if there are some other changes or so?
Thank you, Rudy. Yeah, everything's... Thank you, Tommy. Everything's coming along nicely at the moment. I'm so pleased at the really positive response we've had from all the people who have agreed to come and speak at Streamfest. I mean, you've just had a little taster this evening with Tom and Jim telling you about what they're going to be doing. You know, we've got some really great speakers, so I do hope that you can come along and watch on Saturday and join in. And the great thing about it is, just as all these guys here in Zoom are joining in, you can do the same in Streamfest. So it's like a virtual live streaming convention, and it's all on the internet, 100% live streamed, and you can take part without having to pay anything as well. So it's a slightly different setup to the sort of run-of-the-mill type of stuff, as it were. So we've been doing some experiments, because one of the things that we are concerned about is that Martin and I over here in the UK are going to be using 4G connections to bring the whole thing to the internet. And well, we know 4G isn't the most reliable thing in the world. And although I have to say it's not been bad, but you know, 14 hours, it's a bit of a risk really that something could go wrong. So after the show on Monday, we started looking at how we could recover from problems. And I'm pleased to say that we found out that you can actually have a backup stream on YouTube. So Jon in Sweden's agreed to be our backup. If our connection goes down, YouTube will automatically fail over to Jon, where the Zoom room will be available. So even if we go off the air for a little while, there will still be something happening. So I think we've got it all together now. I think we know exactly what's going to happen. Hopefully we're not going to have any trouble. But as Martin said earlier, the only way you learn is if something does go wrong. And that's what we're all here to do. We're going to learn just as much as everybody else is going to learn. So I'm really looking forward to it anyway. And I see some excellent speakers.
Giles? Yes, I was going to email you this, but Merle and I have sort of changed our segment. Instead of talking about what you had set up for us to talk about, Merle is going to don a tuxedo and do a song and dance routine. I think it's called Putting on the Ritz, and I'm going I'm going to put on some tights and do a ballet. And so, you know, hopefully that will be more entertaining than just talking about stuff.
Well done, Doug. That I've got to say, Mel.
Well, we thought that we might do a Ginger Rogers Fred Astaire thing, but we couldn't decide on who needed to be who. So
yeah. I don't look good in a low-cut gown. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah, that was the problem.
If Tom will send you guys some of his lemonade, you'll just dress up like whatever at that point. That's what I drank before I put on that banana suit. So.
So, hopefully that answers your question, Rudy.
Yes, thank you, Giles. I certainly look forward to the stream on Saturday. And yeah, we talked before about it. We're hoping that something goes wrong, that we can figure out what's going wrong. Because if everything is going too well for the first time, yeah, let's not step outside of our shoes. So, but it's going to a great show. We have already received some great commentary on the social media. The next coming days, we're going to make some more ads on Facebook and Twitter and the other social media. So yeah, it's going to be a blast, I think.
I hope so.
So this is more or less for the official part of the show. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask them now.
Light showing up on your belly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
No, that's what I ate. Showing
Oh,
out.
okay.
E.T. had the
Glowing
red
from the
one.
inside out. No, this is those ATR 2100s. They put on that piercing purple
It is
LED on
bright.
It's too much. That's why you got it turned down so it's not popping you in the eye. I know, it's kind of a distraction from those silly things. Good mic.
I
I thought it was your Iron Man impersonation, Tommy. Iron Tommy, just down a little bit lower.
Yeah, I used to have an iron
craft dinner.
stomach, but not anymore.
It used to be in the right place. It just kind of drifted over time, Martin.
Yeah.
I'm like Rudy, and I really am looking forward to Streamfest on Saturday. There's so many things that are going on. There just is something for everyone, from a brand new beginner or someone that is not even started yet, just someone with a kind of an idea. Those are some of the people that we need to get in there first, because Tommy and I are going to do the basics. Hopefully we can remember how to do the basics, but it's going to be, there are going to be things there that you didn't realize that you didn't know. And it happens to me all the time, but yeah, it's going to be a good thing for everyone.
Yeah.
Back to you,
I think it's really the often the small things that are important, like on last Monday show, after an hour, people were telling that my audio was not at the same of the same quality as before. So what happened was that I was, and now I'm still using my Apple earbuds as my not as my microphone, but I'm using those when I'm doing a small show with Tommy or with Dave or with Martin, just a quick setup, and I'm using those. But I forgot to check was afterwards in Zoom that my earbuds was the input. So when you don't have any feedback at the moment, if I should have started a regular show, my audio would have been awful because I was using my earbuds. So I think feedback from the audience is very, very interesting and necessary. To point me to a few minor problems, and that's really nice that you get live feedback from viewers. What's happening with the live stream? Your lower turtle is still on. Your camera is not good. So we often try to do too many things, too many advanced things before we covered our basics, I think.
I think you have to do this. You just have to get on the air and do it, and that's how you learn, isn't it? And I would advise anybody who's, have a go at recording it and watch it back and do all that kind of thing first. But then, yeah, if you can get on a show like this one, we welcome anybody to call in, and you can get some experience at actually doing live stuff with other people there to help you out if something does go wrong, or to try and help you or whatever. And I think it's a very good way to just sort of get used to doing it before you go off and do your own shows. And yeah, you're most welcome to call in, and that's exactly what Len's done this evening.
Yeah.
I don't know if Len wants to tell us a bit about himself, but greetings, Len.
I bought vMix about 3 years ago, and I thought I would start doing some live streaming, put together some local people, which didn't happen in my area. So I just left it. I started doing some work on some films. I made my own half-hour film. This sounds funny because, sorry, it's in here. The room seems to be echoing a bit, but I don't know, that's better.
Don't worry, Len, it's great.
Yeah, it's just the room. I like sound to sound properly. Yeah, so I made some films, some short films. Got a director of photography in to do it for me, and a local crew. Also did some worked on some engineering projects over the years for sound. And I thought, right, okay, I'll start doing some streaming. So I bought a camera, semi-pro camera, JVC, which is not being used at the moment. I'm actually coming off of a little Sony cam. Bought the computers, built the computers myself, bought the mixer desk. I've got a couple of microphones which I'm using, AKG Pro, this one here, and this lav. I've got two of them. I've also got two Rode mics. I've got an NTG2 and an NTG3. Also, I've also got a Rode Studio mic, which is sitting in this box up the top. So I've got loads of equipment and doing nothing with it anymore.
We're so glad that you've put it to us and come and said hello to us. That's really good. And
well, to say, I've been watching the show now for Tom for years. I've been watching people on the vMix forum. You, Giles, for quite a long time now, mate. And I keep thinking, shall I or shan't I? Shall I or shan't I? So I thought, right, okay, I'll bite a bullet tonight and I'll go for it. So I'm just happy to sit here and listen to everyone.
That's fine.
Len,
yeah, you're welcome to do that.
Len, welcome to World of Live Streaming, and Thank you, Tommy. Very welcome to come in anytime.
Thank you very much, Tommy.
It's good seeing someone that's, well, like you said, you've got all the equipment, but you just haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
And so now you're using it, and you're going to be learning a lot more while you're using it.
I am more probably maybe like Martin, used to being behind the camera. Like Martin would know, booming over, being the sound, doing sound, like booming across over the camera. So that's where I'm used to being sitting here now in front of the camera. I'm very nervous. So,
Len, I think all of us here, with the exception of Tom Sinclair, are definitely behind the camera people. And my story was that I watched Tom. It is all Tom's fault. We have to say this. We use this as our catchphrase. But you know, a lot of us were part of Tom's audience. Still, very much are part of Tom's audience. We enjoy watching Tom's show every week. And I mean, I got vMix not to do live streaming. I just wanted to record and cut live. But you know, you start watching Tom and you think, well, I've got this toy here that can do that. And yeah, it's all thanks to Tom that this exists. And Tom is a very gracious sponsor as well, so we have to thank Tom for that too. What do you reckon, Tom? It's difficult getting going the first time, isn't it? Do you remember your first broadcast?
Yes. It was terrible.
Oh, I think you might be muted.
Am I muted? I changed my audio around.
We're not hearing you, Tom. You're not muted, but I can't hear you.
All right, let's see. Is that better? Check 1, 2, 3.
No, still nothing.
I think it's your fault.
While he's working on that, I would like to say my first broadcast was on Blab, the ill-fated program, but the original Blab was so much fun that I broke the ice by going on to it and learned that people didn't laugh, you know, at the ugliness. They just sort of went along with it because everybody else looked just as bad as I did. But Blab was what got me started. But now, long before that, I was watching Tom Sinclair. He wouldn't let me on his show because he knew what I'd do. So I just, you know, I just watched his show and then learned. And then Tom is actually the one that pointed me towards Blab. He was talking about broadcasting to it and using it. And I went over and checked it out, and it was almost, at that time, it was almost like having a TV with so many different channels and so many people talking about so many things that I fell in love with Blab. And then, of course, they messed it up, but that's what broke the ice for me. Tom, can you talk now?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Nope. Still no sound from Tom.
I did the same thing, Tommy, at the age of 67. I began my video career, so to speak. So you never get too old. And I'm not sure you ever get too young either, you know.
Well, I'm 61 now, so.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I
think the first time.
Blab was great to learn how to come on camera, because it was like we mostly do on and talk to other people. I had a few people I was still talking to, mostly in the UK and Ireland. But my biggest problem was, and still is, that I have 3 or 4 examples of people who do some live streaming. There's Tom, of course. There's Stephen Haywood of the Tech Boss, and there were there was a couple, the UK guy and the American guy doing the Great Show. And I bought my equipment, but I have, like you said, I have the equipment, but always have cold feet to start, because those guys are, but those are, in my eyes, they are perfect, but they're doing it already 10 years or longer. And that's something we often forget.
Well, the very first time I actually heard of live streaming and the equipment was Studio Tech TV.
Yeah, that was it. That was a show I was following also, yeah.
Yeah, Mark and, can't think of his name, American bald-headed guy. Yeah.
Vance Willis.
Vance Willis, yeah. That's where I first learnt it, and I went out and bought a sort of Blackmagic A10 TV studio, which I've never used. I've got it out of the box, put it together, done some firmware upgrades, put it back in the box, and then I went out and bought the wild card, so I can put four HDMI cameras into that, which is inside the computer. So it's live stream with that. I bought the ATEM because I thought maybe I could stream with it, but I couldn't. So I had to go and buy a Wirecast, and I didn't like Wirecast. Then I went and bought vMix. So it's been an expensive learning curve for me.
I think one of the problems that a lot of us have, or especially I did, and that is the fact that I wanted my first show, my very first production, I wanted it to be perfect. And that almost never happens. So if you have that problem and you want it to be perfect, don't wait. Just get it together and get out there and do something. And if you do something that's a little funny, everybody's going to laugh with you. They're not going to laugh at you. So,
well, I mean, for me, I'd rather be behind the camera doing the switching. I mean, over you can't see it off the camera. Got another table. I've got a green screen, which is down at the moment. I've got to put it up, or I'm going to paint the wall green. I've got all the LED lights and everything else. So I want to actually get someone together to be like Tom, for instance. I know Tom does it with himself, but I'd rather be here switching and get someone like Tom and to do that, to do that side for me. And sort of think up.
That was my idea when I first started this.
Yeah,
was to do it for someone else, but I never could find someone else
who
even knew what I was talking about. So I decided, well, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it myself to learn.
Yeah. I think we are almost every one of us has the same problem. And I'm practically a copy of Len. I think because of the show, I bought the ATEM, and then I had the problem. But the audio isn't working. So I had to buy another piece of equipment just to get the audio in. It costed me a few months to decide which mic I should buy, which mixer, which I bought the DBX. And then a few months later, I had a huge problem because I was very unfortunate to win vMix. It was
to win vMix.
I hate you.
You know this.
It's such a burden, Rudy. It's just,
the story.
I know the feeling, Rudy. I mean,
the story, Len.
Yeah.
You know the story, Len.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard, isn't it, Rudy?
The problem for me was one. I'm working now 25 years with computers, but I work with Macs. I'm an Apple guy. So and I was already thinking, I want to use vMix, but am I going to buy a new computer for it? But because I won the professional version of vMix, that gave me some room to buy a laptop. And if I'm looking back now, it's only a few months. It's what Tom started. For me, it's not exactly the same, but it's one machine. You can have one camera, one microphone, one laptop, and you can start a decent live stream. But what vMix is doing, it's crazy. When I was using my ATEM switcher, my computers, they were all the time at 70-80%. I tried to use Wirecast at the moment, it was 80%. Boeing's TV, 90-95% of processing use. Now at the moment, I'm streaming at 720p to YouTube, I'm recording, and I'm hosting the calls, and I'm now at 25-30% total CPU usage.
Wow,
that's wonderful.
That's crazy, and I frankly I'm afraid that I hope that the vMix guy can hold this, because everyone is at the vMix forum. Everyone is asking so many things that you can't put them in a program, even the most expensive version. People are asking stuff that costs $20,000 or more, and I want it, and if possible for free in the next update. That's impossible.
Yeah.
If you see the instant replay and all those things, that's incredible. I'm just scratching the surface of vMix, but it's incredible what you can do with a program. Even the most basic version, I'm probably going to buy it at Tom's now because I'm going to use a second computer. Even with the basic HD version, you can do incredible things, and people often forget it.
Well, I mean, I actually bought the ATEM, and I thought, okay, I'll bring it into the computer, and I thought, right, I can't stream with it, so I need something else. So I thought, right, okay, I went out and bought the Blackmagic Intensity Pro card and put that in. So then what I could do is take the ATEM, plug the ATEM output into the Intensity Pro card, into the computer, then vMix recognised the Intensity Pro card. And that worked perfectly. But I just don't have any need for the ATEM anymore, as I say, because I'm using a WAN card. And I'm 2-3 cameras maximum. That's all I need. So anybody wants to buy an ATEM? It's sitting there. Well, I had the same problem, Rudy. When you said about getting sound, I couldn't get sound, so I had to go. I can't remember the actual model. It's a Behringer, so I can plug a Behringer into it.
It's the Ultramax Pro.
That's it. That's the Ultramax Pro. That's it exactly. Yep. And as I say, I've got a box sitting down here. The ATEM, Ultramax Pro, and Behringer compressor sitting in there also. All in a box, so and it's just put away, and I'm not using it at all. Don't need it because we've got vMix, because vMix does so much, and they're adding to it all the time.
Okay, I see that Tom has audio back. Tom, can you talk a little bit about how it all started for you?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep. We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Way back when, before there was live streaming, but after the cavemen, I'm not a live stream guy. I'm not a TV guy. I'm not a radio guy. I'm not a techno guy. I'm just a guy who had kids, and my kids played soccer, and as they grew up, I coached them, and I loved coaching. But when they got to high school, they wouldn't let me coach anymore. And I found out that if you have a camera around your neck, you can get onto the field. And then you can yell things real quietly at the players. And so I took my camera down there and I started taking pictures, and this was back before, digital, this was film. And so I was handing out photos that I had printed up, and then I got a digital camera and made photos of those and handed those out. And then somebody said, well, why don't you put some of these pictures on a website? So I put the pictures on a website. And then somebody said, why don't you do some videos? So I'd take some short clips, and every now and then I'd get lucky and get a goal or a really, outrageous foul, yellow card. And so I'd post that video on the website. And then one day somebody said, Tom, we got a big soccer tournament. Can you do live video? And I said, sure, no problem. Didn't have a clue how to do that. And I knew you could do like Skype, but that wasn't the same thing. But I found a provider somewhere out in the Midwest that would give me a little postage stamp sized player, and I could stream a webcam to that player. So I took a webcam and I duct taped it to a tripod, because back then webcams didn't have a hole in the bottom of them to screw in a tripod. And we streamed We used a laptop computer. In fact, I still use that laptop, and streamed live for 2 days, a Saturday and a Sunday. And the response from the people that watched was just amazing. This was like 2008, and it was just it told me, based on the response, that whatever this thing was that we did, it was a thing. It was going to be something. And I was intrigued by it. I was amazed by it. And of course, I went out on the internet to find all I could about it. And the very first thing that I saw was VidBlaster. And so I downloaded and tried VidBlaster, and I thought it was the greatest thing in the whole world, because you could switch cameras and add graphics and just do all sorts of things. And then I found Wirecast, and so I tried Wirecast and used that for a while. And then I decided, I ought to do a show and teach people how to do this, because it was hard to find out information on it. And so I started a show, and I really liked VidBlaster. So I said, I'm going to do a show, and it was Vance Willis with the Studio Tech guys. That I was in their chat room one day chatting, and Vance said, "Oh, it's that VidBlaster guy in the chat room." And so that's how the show name came out. And I did the VidBlaster guy show for, I guess, 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. And it was really, really popular, and we were doing a lot of things. And I realized that there was so much more to the live streaming than just the software, just VidBlaster. There was cameras and microphones and mixers and CDNs and cables and all sorts of other nonsense that you had to have to do a production. And so that's when I said, I need to start a new show that's not limited to one particular piece of software. And so that's when the idea came up for Streaming Idiots, a show that said, hey, come on, join us. We're all a mess. Nobody's doing it right, and I'm the worst offender of all. And so therefore you don't have to feel bad, because here I am making mistakes right and left in front of you, and it turned out to be just a real winning combination with just lots of viewers, you guys included. Thank you very much. Check is in the mail. And folks from all over the U.S., all over the world, actually, that I still get emails on shows that I did, 2 and 3 years ago, with people asking questions and wanting to know an update on whatever the particular problem was. So it's been an absolute joy. And then, of course, about 1.5 years ago, I sold my other company and went full time. Live streaming, created Eastern Shore Broadcasting, and hooked up with people like vMix and PTZ Optics and Magewell and PI Engineering and X Keys, and hope to be bringing a couple of other brand names on board soon. A limited lineup. The idea is that I'm going to know this stuff intimately, so if you want to know about it, I can tell you. If you want to know about a Panasonic camera, I can't tell you about a Panasonic camera, but if you want to know the ins and outs of the PTZ Optics brand cameras, yes, I can help you with that. And that too has been a real winning combination too. But that was the beginning. That's how it all started. It's been an exciting journey, and it's been so much fun to have you guys on the journey too.
Tom, you have said that your show is an infomercial.
Yes.
And yes, it is. But the thing that differentiates it from other shows of the type is you have real info. We get info that don't necessarily have anything to do with Eastern Shore Broadcasting, but it's good info. And I think a lot of these companies could use you as a role model. I think Paul Richards is doing something similar. He sells his products, but he also experiments and does things that has nothing to do with PTZ Optics, and that's why so many people watch it.
Yeah.
And these other companies could use you as a role model and help themselves so much if they could just find someone that would come on and talk about their products, but experiment with other things.
I'm writing out the check right now, Tommy. Hold on.
Oh, okay. I love you, Tom.
We're going for a short piece back to Jim. He has some treats for us, but before we do that, what I really like also about Tom's show is that he hardly misses a show. I know it's not easy to put together a show every week. When we see here our small pieces together, for instance, this time in time, or the little tidbits, find a topic every week is not that easy. And I think I'm following you now for 2 years or so, Tom. You hardly misses a show. Maybe 3 or 4 shows a year when you're on holiday, and even then you try to do something. So that's still something that's amazing for me. Jim has, if it's okay for everyone, Jim can show some score bugs he made. So Jim, if you're okay with it, go ahead.
Okay, I think I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought what I would do real quick while I had the time, if it's okay with everybody, is I would just slide through these graphics really quick that comes in this little basic package that we've offered to everybody, and give you an idea of what we've done, and kind of just show it to you a little bit. I'll start by going here. This is just a quick game slate, and everything that you see in the picture is changeable on the right side of the game of the week logo there. You can change the names, the graphics in the boxes. All of that is changeable because they're XAML files within vMix. So you basically get these graphics, and all you have to do is right click on them to change them. And the text part is easy. The graphic stuff is not as easy. Now here's the first scoreboard or score bug that we have in this package. There's 3 of them. Again, you can change everything in here, and everything is controllable via shortcuts and right clicking on the input within vMix. So that's an actual working scoreboard. And if you set your shortcuts up right, all of the scoreboards will work in unison within vMix. So all you have to do is program your shortcuts, and you can have a working clock. You can have your quarter, down and distance, of course, your teams, your graphics, your scores, all of that works together. Down in the left-hand corner of this, somebody couldn't spell Detroit, but again, just a little game location bug you can pop up on your screen. What we tried to do was to give you scoreboards that were useful, but yet little graphic elements that you could bring up during the game that would, make your broadcast just a tad more interesting. I see so many things that are streamed where people have gone to the trouble of putting a picture on the screen, but they haven't gone to the trouble to put the little extras into it that really aren't that hard to do if you know how to do this kind of stuff, that will really add to the quality of what you're putting out there. This is the box bug. You see this on a lot of the networks like ESPN and CBS that they've gone to. Some of them run it in the lower corner right, and some of them run it in the upper corner right. But again, you can see everything there is working and can work within vMix. The clock will run. You can start it and stop it. All of those things. Plus, if you use data sources, you can interface actual scoreboard clocks with vMix. I don't recommend that. We don't do it that way because I think it's too difficult and too expensive to do, but you can do it if you want to. Again, here's another game slate you can pop up. Teams are in the huddle. You're coming back from a break, something like that. And again, everything in this is changeable. Like up at the top, you can see this quarter is presented by the Ford place there. Well, all of that is changeable. You just open up the XAML file and type in there what you want. And we've even got a little social media bug here that you can use. Also, calling the game bug. And you can see here in this particular set of graphics that I'm showing you, because this is one I've already done for a customer, his theme colors are woven throughout the package. So his logo is a series of blues and white. So we basically made all the accents match his logo color. So it looks like it was done specifically for him, and really it was. And again, another little bug here that will get you, some more things you can type on. Here's the top bug here, the scoreboard. This is probably the most detailed one of all three of the scoreboards because it's got the timeout ticks on it, as well as the down and distance, the clock, the quarter, the two teams, and the two scores. So it's probably the most detailed of all of the files to work with. But again, you can do all of this with shortcuts. So if you change the score on one, it changes it on all of them. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully that'll give anybody that's interested an idea of what you can get from us. There's several other things that we do. One thing that I'd like to show you before I shut up is this right here, because I'm really proud of these. These are custom football helmets for specific high school teams for a customer that we did last week. And they're pretty darn realistic looking. They're on a white background, but we give them to you as PNG files. And boy, you can put those things in vMix and, use them and really snazz up your production. So that's just a quick example of what we can do for anybody that might be interested in that kind of thing. And thanks for letting me show it.
Incredible, Jim. Incredible quality of the score books, and it's amazing. Tommy, which if you like, I want to donate an Alabama helmet to you. I'll.
Uh-oh. Can you show it to me?
Do you have an Alabama? Do you have an Alabama helmet, Jim?
My daughter does.
Well, I don't have one, no.
But they can create one.
Oh, absolutely. We can create anything. The Alabama helmets are actually really easy to create because they're so simple.
No comment.
Jim, I intend to take your graphics to the radio station with me. So I believe that the graphics changes an otherwise what could be called a home movie into something special. It makes it nearly a Fox TV a video. So I know that I have talked about this several times throughout the show today, but I just can't get over how happy I am that you did what you did.
Well, for something that I didn't intend to do, I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out as well. And, when you do something like this, you never know, how it's going to turn out or how many people are going to be interested in it or anything like that. But, if it helps a handful of folks, then, I feel like I've done my part.
Well, I just think it's going to be a wonderful sales tool. I really do.
In all honesty, I'm going to speak with the badminton people in Belgium and even the guys that doing the European and World Champions streams, because I can show you the bugs, and it's what Merle is saying. If we can get a package for badminton at the same quality, and it's probably a lot easier than that. It's exactly what Merle said. Instead of a home movie, with those things and a decent production, filming what's happening, it's better than what the national television is showing, and that's without any exaggeration.
One other thing that we do, and I'm trying to load one into vMix real quick so I can just show it to you over top of my deal, is image sequences. This is another one of those things that I think just really adds pizzazz to your show. This is just our logo we use on Friday nights, and there you go. Running a little slow on this desktop office machine, but that kind of thing to me, along with the other graphics, just does so much more to enhance your product that you're putting on the screen for people to watch. And you know, we're living in a world now where more and more people are going to the internet to take in this kind of stuff, and they're not going to be as tolerant of poor quality streams. I mean, they expect to get a television type experience when they put that stream up on their TV with their Roku box or their Apple TV, or if they have a web browser interface. And all along from the first day that I ever got into this, my goal has been on Friday nights to leave people that view what we do saying, we didn't watch it on the internet, we watched it on television. And that's always been our goal. And it's the small things like this that I think make all the difference in the world.
Agreed.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, Jim's going to put my show out of business because nobody's going to tolerate all the mistakes on streaming idiots anymore.
Tom, your show is the real deal, man.
Well, it's real, all right.
Let me say one other thing before I get off here. I'm going to pat Tom on the back as well. You know, unlike some of the other people that have gotten into this that don't know as much about it as maybe I do, Tom and I became fast friends when I, you know, found his show and then realized he was a fellow Alabamian like myself. And we finally got to meet over at StreamCon face to face. But we've been talking and exchanging texts and stuff like that forever. And what Tom does for the streaming community, I think you just can't put a premium on it, because he's just a straight up guy. He'll help anybody. And what you see, folks, is what you're going to get. So if you need something like what Tom does, you couldn't pick a better person to go work with.
Damn, another check.
How much is that now, Tom?
Yeah.
He's up to $1.50 now.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I hadn't hit him up for
he's also thrifty.
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about the way Tom treats everybody, though, is Tom understands that there are people that, you know, are trying to do all they can to look as good as they can. And, you know, they may not have $50,000 to spend, but he's gonna put you in something that is as good as you're going to get for the budget you've got to work with. And he knows this stuff. And I'm telling you, these companies that make this stuff are getting harder and harder and harder to talk to. I have spent the better part of this morning trying to just talk to somebody with Ubiquity about some of this networking stuff that's going to be required to make all of this NDI stuff work on a wireless basis. And you can't you go to Ubiquity and find a phone number on the internet, on their website, and I'll give you $20. Not a single phone number anywhere. But yet they're probably one of the leading companies in the world that makes this networking gear that we're all going to need to use to get the most out of this NDI stuff.
Yeah, they seem to want you to buy it, and then they will hopefully support it.
Well, you know, but that's the hard part of it, Merle. Until you understand what you need to buy, it's hard to just go buy it. I mean, what have they got? 4 or 5 different access points. Then they've got the mesh system. Then they've got a few other items. And, you know, my goal is to blanket a football stadium. I want to be able to cover an entire football stadium so that I can walk around with a NewTek Spark Connect and not have any problems. That's my goal. But I can't find anybody that has been able yet to tell me how to do it.
Yeah, I looked just like you did, and although I wasn't ready to make the phone call, I was confused when I left the page. I didn't know what I was looking for. So I understand completely what you're saying.
And then you try to talk to NewTek about bandwidth requirements for some of this stuff. Like, I don't know a person that has bought NDI Cam, the app for iPhone or iPad, that's had a lot of success using it. And I think it's because of throughput, because we don't necessarily have the network infrastructure that we need for this stuff to ride on. But, you know, you got to get the information you need to build what you need to build so that this is going to work today and tomorrow as well. So, Tom, get on it.
Guillaume says,
Okay.
Guillaume says he says that he can help you with this. He's in the
Yeah.
live
You can
stream.
PM him, Jim, about this. Guillaume isn't in the chat room at the moment,
Okay.
but you can send him a mail.
Will do. Thanks, guys. I got to run. See everybody Saturday.
Thanks very much for your input, Jim. Thanks
Yes,
very
sir.
much appreciated.
See you, Tom.
Oh, Jim, before you go, I need to ask you a question.
All right.
Here at my local high school, we don't have the traditional helmets, and I was wondering if you could do some graphics for this. That's all these guys can afford.
Man, if it's a picture, I can make it happen.
Okay.
You guys have the deluxe chin strap there, I see, Tommy.
Well, they have to be multitasking because this is also their milk bucket. And
Tommy, I
when they
thought they wore tractor hats down there where you are.
No, they use mules, so they don't need a tractor hat.
See you guys Saturday.
Thank you, Jim.
Look forward to it, Jim.
Jim had to run before we jumped him again.
Rudy, you've had a heck of a show today. You're very
Yes.
lucky.
Great job,
but-
Rudy.
No, all funny sides apart. It's been very much. It's a great learning experience because I really think I needed something like this to really start stuff, and I already see a few mistakes. For instance, I didn't put the end button at the X keys to have a decent end credit of our show. But the great thing for me, the biggest thing I learned was the zoom thing. That you can constantly switch between speaker view and gallery view. So that's a very interesting thing, and I'm just seeing that it's a shortcut. So I'm probably going to program a shortcut on my X keys that can do the switching between gallery view and speaker view. That's something I learned, and that can, I think, improve the user engagement.
Well, the main thing, Rudy, is, you've done a good job today. So don't get a big head like Merle does, okay? I mean, it's kind of embarrassing sometimes.
And what also still is a learning point. And I'm constantly watching it. It's the placement of the screens. I constantly am. If I'm watching, I'm now watching the Zoom screen. So, but I'm not looking to you guys. So now I'm looking into the camera. It's still something I have to play with. My laptop is now under my camera. On that screen is the chat room and the live stream.
Well,
So
now you know
still-
why Giles has 22 monitors set up in front of his
Yeah.
screen. So
Yeah.
he can keep track of everything.
It's not easy.
Rudy, if you have any problems at all, I'd be happy to give you Giles or Tom's number, okay?
And then there was silence.
Looks like Dave's striking up a live stream on his phone.
Well, yes, talking about phones, I told it in a pre-show what after my discussion with Martin Steed yesterday, and talking about the NDI app, I bought today an extra cable that allows me now to connect my iPhone via Ethernet. So I'm streaming. I'm streaming with an Ethernet cable.
That sounds pretty cool. Really does. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, what you need is a regular cable from your iPhone to a USB 3. It's called a camera connection kit. It's USB 3, and at the same time, you can charge your iPhone with it. And you really need the charge. That's the big thing. You need enough power. And then from the USB 3, you can go with this cable, which is USB to Ethernet. When you plug that in, you can use Ethernet with your phone. Now, I tested it and it's work. I didn't test the NDI app already with it, but all the rest is working. I was not using my bandwidth from my iPhone, but I was using Ethernet.
Is that what you're showing us, Tom?
No. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I was live with that.
That's the Howard Jones stuff.
This is the Howard Jones stuff. That's right. Howard is releasing this, the WIDA, August 20th. I just got a notice on my phone that he has shipped a demo version to me to try out. So as soon as I get it, we'll be showing it off. Dave, you're probably too far away, but Tommy might be close enough to help me try it. No, I'm teasing it. I think it has a 6-mile limitation, but it's going to be really fun. He took what we saw at StreamCon, and he has put that into a single box. So now all the connectors are on one box, and so you plug your camera in, you plug your power in, and away you go. I haven't found out yet. I'll wait and see when I get it whether it's got an internal battery or whether it requires an external battery. But
is this line of sight?
This is not necessarily line of sight. When we were at StreamCon, we burned through a concrete block wall and around a building, didn't we, Dave?
Yeah, we did. There was a grove of magnolia trees actually in between as well after that block wall, because you were down at that lower level. Then the magnolia trees, there was probably 6 or 8 of those in there, and those are very, very dense. And then Joe and I, we walked down the far side of the street, and then we crossed back over, that parking lot had a wrought iron fence around it. So you had all that metal in the fence that was around it. Plus, there was a dumpster in that parking lot, and we were standing probably 15 feet away from that dumpster. And we were probably, I don't know, probably 600 or 700 yards away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's line of sight, but it can burn through some stuff too.
I think line of sight is like 6 miles.
Yes.
Geography.
Like even when they did the bridge from upstairs, and there, I don't know, it was a mile and a half away or something. That was line of sight.
Right.
Send me part of it, Tom, and I'll get up on top of the barn and.
Well, just get on the mule, Tommy, and just start heading toward Fairhope. And as soon as Tom sees your image, he'll tell you to stop, and then you can measure the distance.
If I get on the mule, that's going to cut everybody's deliveries out around here because we only got one mule.
Well, that's all right. Nobody there gets much of anything anyway, so it's all right.
Oh,
if the geography is right, guys, are you going to be able to use your internet from your home or your office through this? Or is it 3G, 4G, or do we know?
Merle, essentially, it's its own system with a transmitter and a receiver. And so, it depends on what you want to do with that signal once you get it. So if you've got a camera, 5 miles down the road, you can stream it if you want to. You can record it. You can just look at it. It's just the wireless, quote unquote wireless, and I guess it doesn't have to be a camera. I guess it could be a microphone, but it's just transmitting data wirelessly over a pretty darn good distance, very reliably.
My question is, what is the use of it? What would be a case use or something?
Okay. I was talking with Charlie Helms. Dave, I think you met Charlie. Well, of course you know Charlie. Never mind. Charlie was at StreamCon, and he has a company that works with high schools all over the U.S. doing live streaming, mostly for sports. And he's all over this. He thinks this is going to be the greatest thing in the world because they've tried to find a remote camera that will go a good long distance so that they can go out into the parking lot and do interviews. They can go to the other side of a stadium and do interviews. I've talked with several folks that do event type things like outdoor events like festivals and parades where they can send somebody into the crowd and they can be 3 blocks away and still be streaming video and audio. So I think it's going to be a special use type piece of equipment, but I think there are going to be a lot of uses for it. I'm excited. I can't wait to get it and go out and try it. This is the kind of thing. I mean, this is not going to be a little teeny box camera. I mean, this is going to be whatever your camera is will connect to this box and will go from that transmitter to the receiver. Once I get it, I want to do some testing with it, and then I want to talk with Howard and say, how can we enhance this? Can we add? Here's something that you guys like. Can we add intercom? I know you're transmitting audio and video one way, but can we add a channel to have intercom between the camera guy and the director back in the truck or wherever that director is? Can we add a tally light so that the talent that's in front of this camera knows that they're live because the light comes on? vMix can drive a tally light, but can we add a tally light to it? And there may be some other kinds of things that people, once we get out there and start using it, it's like, oh yeah, of course it needs to have its own built-in tripod or whatever those kinds of things are. So it's going to be a lot of fun to play with and experiment with, and I'm so happy for Howard and so proud of him for putting this thing together. This is going to be really great. It's priced at $1,000, so it's not the kind of thing that everybody's going to want, but for the particular purposes that you need it for, it's going to be really a value in those purposes.
Sounds like that if your elevation is good, it could be really great.
Yeah.
Well, it's about placement. Yeah, if you can get your receiver and transmitter high enough up where there's no obstructions except an occasional crow flyby, you're in pretty good shape.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How would this compare to broadcast TV covering a parade, say? Can they do that?
They're doing it already, Tommy, but they're using a $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000 piece of equipment.
Okay.
Bouncing stuff off of one antenna to another. It's a completely different kind of stuff, really, yeah. I guess.
Okay.
Even with the Ubiquity stuff, when you look at their website, you'll see where they're talking about taking a signal from one place in a city where all these high-rise buildings are and hitting an antenna array on top of another building and bouncing it down into another location. Kind of like when you do the infrared for your TV controls and you have to kind of put reflectors so it goes around corners and different things like that. So
I'm thinking Howard will
kind of wide open.
Howard will probably want us all to have one for test and evaluation too.
Well, if we can get enough of us with them, we can put together a global network. If we can get enough people that are within 6 miles of each other, we can just keep hopping it.
That is true.
That's a dangerous sign, though, Merle, on a global network. I mean, that's could be the end of times.
I think it's the wave of the future.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on that.
We are living in the future,
Merle
gentlemen.
on a global network.
We are living in the future. We are living beyond the future. I mean, you go back and you watch some of the Jetson cartoons, or you go back and look at Popular Mechanics or Popular Science about what the future would look like. We are way beyond a lot of that. It's amazing, amazing.
Well, just even look at what we're doing here with, 10 screens up. I know Jim's is gone and his name is still showing up, but we have 10 people connected on this, and we're sitting here having a conversation, discussing things, demonstrating things, as if we're sitting around an old country store, sitting around the potbelly stove, and everybody's just swapping stories and hanging out, at the pub or whatever your local watering hole is, where people get together and exchange ideas. This is bringing people back together, because outside of this, those other places don't exist except out in a country type setting. It's very, very rare, especially when you look at urban America. It's in the cities and in the rural, but when you're talking urban America, there is no gathering place for people to sit and hang out and discuss things like we're doing here.
And we've not even had a huge argument yet. So, that's pretty good.
Well, hold on a second, Merle. I think we have. What are you talking about? Gee whiz.
Well, the thing about this Merle is that we won't get mugged when we leave here going back home. So.
Oh my goodness. I haven't had so much fun since. Well, never mind.
Uh-oh.
And down your head, Tom.
You're right.
I'm having flashbacks.
I need to record that. And then put a kangaroo hopping with it, I think. The VMix logo in the background.
There you go. Chasing a banana.
Jumping banana.
Theme song.
Yes, of course, jumping banana.
Yeah, see, that's what that's what we're talking about, copyright stuff earlier. It's got to be recognizable, and so nothing that I'm going to do is going to be recognizable by anybody.
Okay, I think in 5 minutes I'm just going to stop the live stream, but we can continue the chat here, if that's okay for you, Giles.
That's okay for me. All I would ask is that you play at the end thing and give it about 12 seconds or so for the stream to run out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you've done a brilliant job this evening, Rudy.
Yeah, great. Well done, Rudy.
Okay. Thanks.
I didn't think you could do it, but
neither do I.
Tommy said you could, so
Rudy did it all without the use of his ATM TV studio.
Yeah.
And Len, what I just discovered is for the first time in Wolf's history, there are as much Europeans as Americans.
And we're gonna have
really?
to work.
You said there's as many Europeans as there is Americans? I didn't think so.
I'm still European.
As long as the Canadians are outnumbered, we'll be okay.
Yeah. So we may be European at the moment, but once the old Brexit kicks in, I don't know what we're going to become.
I was going to.
You'll be done a peeing, man, and there won't be no more.
Done a peeing. I've done a peeing.
Gentlemen, I want to say thank you, Tom. Thank you for coming on this show, which is really your show, but Giles did a corporate takeover, and now it's his show, and then Rudy took over from Giles, and now it's his show. So thank you, Tom, for putting up with Merle and Dave and Rudy.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh my goodness. And we've got to get on a show when Martin doesn't dominate the conversation so much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, we've been trying to get him trained for a long time. He used to just really take over. You think today was something? I mean, normally you just can't get a word in edgewise.
Happy
You
somebody.
know, I had a very, very long and interesting conversation with Martin yesterday. And you know what he told me? He said, in the beginning, you weren't talking, or you weren't talking to us. You're always sitting and listening and nodding your head.
Yeah.
But
When I
look
caught
who's
part of
now
Monday's
nodding.
show, and I don't know, I couldn't see all that good about that time, but it looked to me like on Monday's show, Martin went out way out in the field behind where he was set up
Jumping.
and was
Oh,
jumping
no.
around. And I couldn't figure that part out. That was, was it Barton dancing, or was he having a fit, or what? So I don't know.
He was hunting.
Okay,
Honey?
Giles, guys, before I put the before I push the end button, I would like to give the last word of today's show to Giles, the organizer of Streamfest Live next Saturday. Giles.
Thank you, Rudy. And first of all, thank you for doing such an excellent job producing and presenting this evening's show. I think that's gone very well indeed. So thank you very much for doing that. I'd also just like to say, if you're watching Tom's stream or our stream, come to that. Tom's on at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight with his special show, so do stick around for that. That's midnight here, Tom. I'm not sure whether I'll still be awake, but I'm going to try and stay up and watch it. And after that, we look forward to seeing you at Streamfest Live. You tune in at stepbackintime.tv, 10 a.m. UK time. I've forgotten what that works out at other times around the world, but I'm sure you will have worked out by now what time it is for you. And we look forward to seeing you. We hope it's going to be really good, and we hope you'll join in, take part, have lots of questions ready. There's going to be loads of good people there who will hopefully be able to answer any questions you might have, or indeed discuss any ideas you might have. So I'm really looking forward to it. Let's hope it goes smoothly. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to everybody watching live. Please like and share if you've enjoyed this, or if you enjoyed the shows. We really appreciate you watching live. Thank you, everybody in the chat room as well. Thanks, Rudy. Roll the credits. Cool beans.
That was
And the stream has stopped.
Rudy, you should be happy with yourself. Proud.
Brilliant job.
I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, well done, Rudy.
No, but it helped a lot. The kit helped a lot. Giles and I started a little bit earlier, and testing, and yeah, some stuff wasn't working as supposed, but we found the problem and the solution. So, and you guys made it easy also. So thank you.
So Rudy, you were talking about your device. Yeah, your device that you had connected to your phone. Is it this device? I think that's what Guillaume was asking about. This Robotniks.
No,
piece?
it's a regular Apple cable.
Okay.
You can buy. It's normally used to put a card or a keyboard or a mouse into the USB. It's they're using it.